Welcome to another beautiful evening here in my Oklahoma Zone 7B garden. As you can see, the new trellis is up, so I'm super excited for that. Really wanted to film a garden tour video, but I don't think I had the time tonight. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you the trellis and my thoughts on it so far. And we have our first sunflower that bloomed, so I'm really excited to show you that. And we have a couple other exciting things happening here in the garden. So let me show you. Look at this gorgeous sunflower. This is my first one of the season. This is a Chocolat variety from Botanical Interest. It has these super beautiful, huge leaves, and you can see that the stem is spotted, very similar to the sunflower itself. I mean, look how super pretty that is. I haven't grown this variety. You can tell that it's multi-headed, so it's going to have some really pretty ones coming up out here soon. But yeah, that is my Chocolat sunflower. None of these others have bloomed yet. You can tell this one right here is Chocolat. I have done a little bit of chaos gardening this year. I was not super great at labeling anything. Anything that I bought from the nursery that had a label stuck in the garden, but pretty much anything I grew from seed or pretty much anything that I direct sowed got no labels. Like, I was doing good to get seeds in the ground. That's how this year has been. This one I do know is Chocolat because obviously it bloomed. And I'm pretty sure the other one I grew in here is Chocolate Cherry. So I will definitely update you guys when that one comes out. This is the trellis that we ended up picking out and putting up. I believe the brand is Vivo Sun. I'll link it down in the description below that we got up on Amazon. We picked this one because it's really long. These are 8-foot beds and the trellis system itself is 7 foot, so they fit in the beds real nicely, a lot better than that last little fencing panel I had put up. And the shade cloth itself is working really well. This is actually the first year I've ever used shade cloth, and so far I'm really excited about how it's turning out. My tomatoes are doing super well, and honestly it's not super hot here in July yet. Normally by now we're in like the mid 90s to near hundreds, but so far it's not too bad. We really had a really mild spring and summer so far. It's actually been really wet, whereas in the past we've been in a drought. So I'm really excited to see that change. Let me show you up close at the trellis. Okay, so this is the trellising system up close. As you can see, it has the mesh, not mesh, what would you call this? Just like a string netting as the plants grow up it. Currently, I have my cucumber plant making nice little progress up on this side. And this side, I have a squash. Honestly, I'm not doing a great job at remembering the name at the moment. I'll put it down below. But as you can see, the shade cloth is hanging on really well. I would watch it on my camera during the day while I was at work, and it would just be flying all over the place. So I feel like this definitely gives it a lot more stabilization, and you can tell that the tomatoes are super happy still. Like, we are getting tomato flowers in July, which is super crazy to me. Even on this side, there's some over there, and some on this side. Honestly, the tomato plants as a whole look super healthy for the beginning of July. So I'm just trying to keep them hanging on for the rest of the summer. So here's a view from the other end. Again, really, really impressed. I just have these up with zip ties. So they're zip tied around these metal posts and then zip tied up here. Literally almost broke my leg. And they're zip tied up here as well. Really happy to have the shade cloth this year. If you don't have shade cloth, you should get it. I did a testing a couple weeks ago, but the ground temperature outside of the shade cloth was 93 and it was 87 degrees under the shade cloth. So I'd say a 6-degree difference is pretty good, especially if it was like 95, that would bring it down to 89. So really happy with this setup so far. We also finally got some germination in this little cut flower garden. So let me pull you in and show you up close. I'd have to double check what the mix was, but so far the germination is looking really, really good. I went ahead and direct sowed these. I think it said you could harvest them in like 25 days. So maybe by the end of July, early August, we'll have some super pretty cut flowers that we can turn into bouquets. This bed here also has the ground cherries that I planted, and I did spot some germination in here this morning. Oh, there we go. There's ground cherries there, and then ground cherries again on this side. I was pretty sure I planted some over here, but I can't. Oh, there they are. Yep, so we've got ground cherries in all 3 little pockets that I planted. I've been holding off on watering some of these bigger beds because I thought we'd get rain. Literally every single day this week has had a chance of rain. And it's Tuesday and no rain. So I am gonna make sure and get these peppers a little bit of watering. They don't look terrible. This is a stevia plant. Look how good he's growing. So while we're out here, I did water these little bitty baby basil plants, but while we're out here, I'm gonna go ahead and water some of these pepper plants. I really need to come out here and fertilize everything eventually, one of these days. But today is not that day. Sometimes with a baby, you can only do what you can do, and that's about where we are right now. Just keeping the garden alive. When I water at night though, I try to not overhead water so much because I don't really want to contribute to fungal problems. Because earlier in the season we had some really bad, I wouldn't say really bad, it was just super rainy and wet and cool. So I had some fungal issues with my peppers. But ever since it's dried out a bit, I haven't had that issue. So that's good. I'm super excited at how my perennial herb bed is turning out. The rosemary on it is big. We've got a nice lavender. This sage is big. It's looking a little sad, but hopefully it'll perk up after some water. I really need to fertilize this bed too. This bed has not been fertilized, I don't think. So maybe we'll have time to do that one of these nights. Oh, and there's a curry plant on here. The curry plant is not perennial here. But it must have gone to seed and reseeded itself. I didn't plant it this year. I planted it last year, but it's nice that it came back. This is honestly my favorite part about being out here. It's the Oklahoma sunsets. While this bed is getting watered, this is most of my tomatoes. Hey, Teddy. And this bed also has some eggplants, beans, and strawberries. But while that is watering, oh yeah, and a couple basil plants, I wanted to show you this little contraption over here. I always get super impatient when I plant seeds. Look. And I just start digging around to try and see if they've germinated. Yeah, hello, happy birthday, little buddy. I'll just cover you back up until you come back out. But this has asparagus I think it's asparagus beans planted. They grow to be like they grow to be like an 18-inch long bean. So I planted those on the outside, and I planted a squash here in the middle, since these will grow up. Okay, tomatoes are looking pretty good right now. I'm sure as soon as I water everything, we will get a really nice rain. That is usually the way it works around here. That's okay. I will not complain about rain. My husband direct sowed these toothache plants, and they're doing really, really good. I think they're also known as buzz buds, but they have sort of like a numbing effect. So they're called toothache plants because they will kind of numb your mouth. That one looks like it's kind of close. But there's actually a couple. And these seeds are like 3 years old, so I'm honestly surprised they're doing as well as they are. But we'll update you as they bloom. Also have a giant basil back here that needs a little bit of attention. I really need to prune it. I keep pruning this basil and not using it. I am really, really bad about having herbs and not using them. But I am making sure that this one doesn't flower because it's growing really, really well. But let me go ahead and take some of these while I'm here. And last but not least, I want to make sure that these strawberries get watered. I probably need to go through here and see if there are any ready. But last I checked, there weren't too very many. So I think those will be okay until I look at them tomorrow. And then I'm gonna water my little cantaloupe plant here. That is doing really, really well. I haven't seen any like actual baby cucumber. No, sorry. I thought it was a tomato hornworm, and I about passed on just looking at it. But no, that is not one. Not yet, anyway. And then let me just swoop on over here so I can get my corn. This is my first year growing corn. And it is clearly being enjoyed by something. So, not sure how that's gonna go. Look at this, I found a garden candy. Pop. I don't even remember what kind this is. My in-laws brought me a bunch. This guy looks really little. That is not that one. That one is a big tomato. Super Sweet 100. Okay. I grew these my very first year of gardening. So this is what we get for all our hard work today. That was actually a really good tomato. Pups are tired. I'm tired. It's about time to get ready for bed. So thank you so much for joining me tonight. I hope you guys had fun doing a little watering in the garden and chit-chatting with me. So thank you so much. I'll see you next time.